Coming up this week, one of America's leading marketing thinkers and a former Obama advisor. We'll also talk about a new Disney property that launches in South Africa and our considered view on this ad. Welcome to Mags on Media. That a little bit later, but first, a milestone birthday for one of the world's biggest, if not the biggest and most valuable brand, Coke. It turns 125 and has embarked on a series of brand exposure projects. We're going to ask this week how the brand has managed to stay fresh and relevant for over a century. From the company, Performance Director Kath Kutzer is with us. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. 125 years. Why is this a big deal for the brand?
Well, 125 years of delivering every day on our brand promise. Being consistent, making sure that we market happiness and optimism.
125 years. Has the brand promise changed at all?
No, it is a constant. I think what is changing and needs to change is our efforts around making sure that we stay fresh and relevant and modern.
How does a brand stay true to that promise?
By understanding the consumers, by understanding passion points, and certainly for South African consumers, elements like sports, family and friends, music, and making sure we connect to those in an emotional way.
But don't these so-called passion points change all the time, or again, over a century and a quarter? Have they always remained constant as well?
I think the things that are valuable to consumers to a certain extent do stay constant, but of course, as the world advances and as things develop, there are certainly new areas of interest.
So how do you keep your finger on the pulse?
We make sure we watch our consumers, we talk to them, we understand them, so insights is key to everything we do in marketing.
Because a brand that is as big and as all-encompassing as Coca-Cola can sometimes be shunted to the margins. It's just there, and you've got to keep working on it, haven't you?
Well, marketing, as you know, is hard work. Growing a brand is hard work every single day.
That's why you do it, and I have nothing to do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But a part of that hard work is passion, and a true passion for the people that connect with our brands. And so that's what drives the heart of this business.
What's the one big lesson, Kath, then, for brands coming out of this? If they were to emulate or to try and mimic your success?
I certainly would say, the balance between understanding that the character of our brands and the character of the organization, the enterprise as a whole, is equally important. I think more and more consumers are discerningly choosing to pledge allegiance to brands that are bigger than the brand, more than the sum of the economic activities. And I think Coca-Cola certainly delivers in that space.
Is it as serious as that? Do people pledge allegiance to a brand?
I believe they do. I believe they do. You know, there are millions of people around the world who, and as we engage on a daily basis, have wonderful stories of, my Coca-Cola story, my first moment with Coca-Cola. And I think, and it's years, and it goes back years, and it's part of the life journey. Coca-Cola is a constant partner, a constant friend.
You, of course, no longer control the brand message. These days, with the advent of social media, you used to be able to do it. Yes. No longer do you do that. You have to work harder incrementally, don't you?
Absolutely. And I think part of that is making sure that everything we do every day is message friendly, is message constant, and is congruent with everything we want consumers to believe and understand about our brands. And you're right, with the digital platform and the advent of that media landscape, we certainly don't own it anymore, but we do own delivering on the brand promise, and we own delivering on those experiences that only Coca-Cola can uniquely bring. 125
years also gives you an opportunity to recalibrate, to retweak the brand, to do something different. Are you going to do that? You have to.
We do, but we do it in ways that are smart. So, our marketing is always cited as different, better, special. We've used this week, as you probably know, different reels of advertisements that go back years. So there's some things that need to stay the same, some things that need to stay authentic and reliable. But in the areas of marketing, certainly in the areas of community involvement and participation, these are all things that we strive to make sure that are new and fresh.
How important is that community involvement when it comes to marketing, particularly in a developing continent like Africa? Surely that's got to be the sharp point of all your efforts.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that we can say about Coca-Cola is that we have a real passion for the communities in which we operate. I think, it's inextricably linked that the long-term health and performance of our business is reflected by thriving communities and healthy communities. And so what we've uniquely, I believe, positioned ourselves to do is develop a philosophy which is around live for a difference. We're getting involved in those communities.
It's easy sometimes to be cynical about a brand CSI involvement. You've got to remain true not only to the brand but also to the promise that you're making. Is that a difficult line to toe sometimes?
I believe one has to be careful. I believe you have to add value where you're uniquely positioned to do so. And I think where we do that differently is we use our voice, we use our reach to add value in areas that are authentic and matter. And so certainly for our company in South Africa, it's around areas of recycling, as you probably know, HIV, entrepreneurship, water stewardship, to name a couple.
How important is it for a brand to remain true to this move globally towards more healthy consumption?
I think you have
Let's be honest, there's a fair amount of sugar in the drink that you're purveying, isn't there?
I think the secret is to make sure that you are mindful of all the lifestyle challenges and circumstances that our consumers deal with on a daily basis. And so we work very hard to make sure that we have a portfolio of brands that offer a range of choice. And I think that's the competitive difference, is making sure that we do cater for all those elements.
Is this a brand, and the final question, Kath, that's going to live in perpetuity, long after we're gone? Will the brand be here for another 125 years? Or are consumer habits changing? Are brand promises and direction changing that, you know, big brands like this, big global brands, are actually under some sort of threat?
This is the world's most loved brand, and undoubtedly people will continue to love this brand for many, many, many years to come.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. 125-year anniversary. Kath Kutzer from Coke in South Africa. And we'd like to hear what you have to say on the Coke brand and comment on our interview. On the screen right now is our Facebook page address. And just ahead on the program, the power and reach of another American brand. Later, lessons for an insurance company from a big global marketing brain. From branding now to advertising, and a new campaign for the one-time holidays brand that pushes the proposition, life is short, so take a holiday. It uses toothpicks, chocolate bunnies, peas, hamsters and hearses, showing how many people die every year from bizarre accidents. The thinking is, if that might happen to you, then sometimes a break is important. Here's one execution, and that's probably a poor choice of word. So we think the idea is smart. It certainly articulates the proposition. It's certainly noticeable, and as the agency says, tweaking the nose of death emphasizes that life is short, so take time out with the brand One-Time Holidays and go on holiday while you can. The Life is Short campaign, by the way, kicked off with a teaser campaign which dispatched hearses branded with the strapline Life is Short to create intrigue. A little macabre, but does it work? Well, yes, we think it does. Is it memorable and rich? Probably not, though. It's a hard-working piece of creative advertising. I doubt it's going to win awards, but we'll certainly give it a strong okay, and we hope we survive the day. The agency is Da Vinci Edison Bell, with assistance from Maverick Media. Well, from advertising, let's move straight to media, and a new Disney property has just been launched. Disney XD is, and you're going to love this one, a new boy-focused, girl-inclusive channel for kids aged 6 to 14. It launches on the DSTV platform. The new 24-hour channel, I'm told, features a mix of live action and animated programming, appealing to boys and their quest for discovery, accomplishment, sports adventure, music and humour. It's what we all want. With us now is Amache Bral, Vice President and General Manager, Disney Channel's Emerging Markets. He's in from London, along with Christine Service, who is South African Country Manager for the brand. To both of you, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Boy-focused, girl-inclusive. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Christine, a little earlier on the programme, we were talking about Coke and 125 years, celebrating a very important anniversary, a brand anniversary. I think there are lessons to be learned, but also perhaps replicated by the Disney brand. You've also sustained for a long time. What's your secret?
You know, Disney is a company that's built on creating great quality entertainment for families. And we spend a lot of time and focus making sure that we do that and consistently do that in everything that we do. And that's been something that we've been doing for years and years and years. And we've been active in this market for over 50 years, so we have a very strong heritage here as well. So I think for us, it's about being consistent in that. We're a media company, we're an entertainment company. We deliver on that promise of providing great quality entertainment, whether that be with new properties like Pirates of the Caribbean or classic things like The Lion King.
What determines, in Disney's view, great quality?
Well, it's quality in, well, for us, everything starts with storytelling. Storytelling underpins absolutely everything that we do. So it's having a great quality story. And then it's about executing that in a high quality, high production way.
Okay, Macho Bral, boy-focused, girl-inclusive, multi-platform channel. What on earth does that mean? As we say in South Africa, Aish, that's a mouthful, eh?
We've brought to South Africa a brand new channel, Disney XD, with brand new programming proposition. We've been working on this channel for a couple of years. We wanted to create something that would appeal to boys, that would really reflect day-to-day's life, the way they spend their time.
How did you see the gap in the programming market?
Well, we've been asking our audiences. One of the things that we do very well is how we talk to our audience, and there is a constant dialogue. So through the research, through the conversation, we found out that there is a gap, a proposition that would appeal more to boys. Boys, in short, they were after an entertainment with the purpose. There's quite a lot of purposeless entertainment all around us, and they were looking at something that would very much take them on this journey of self-discovery.
Has the current offering become too soft and too girly that boys are now being marginalized?
I wouldn't put it that way. Disney is a very immersive, family immersive brand. It's a kid-driven brand. We just thought that we can bring more. You will find quite a lot of relatable themes there, like sport, music, humor, but also outdoor activities. And that's where the boys are. And, you know, you've been there, I've been there, I presume.
Long time ago, my friend.
We love this feeling of accomplishment. We love to go hang out with our dudes, climb the mountain, you know, ride a bike, and arrive there and say, yes, we've done it. And that's how you can summarize Disney XD, really.
Locally relevant, Christine, you referred to. How does this channel become locally relevant?
Well, you know, I mean, we know from research that we've done here that there is a particular demand in this market for more boy-driven product that has the Disney values that underpin it. So real strong storytelling, positive values. We're going to work very hard now initially to make sure that we build the Disney XD audience. We do a lot of stuff off-air with our channels, and Macha can talk more about that. That's how we will connect on the ground with our viewers, as well as through websites and mobile activities. And look, at over time, the channel will evolve, and we will become more and more local over time.
Do kids still watch TV, given all the other options that they've got, you know, gaming, mobile phones, that sort of thing? I mean, that's a big threat to you.
They do. The answer is they do. But we want to be where our audience is. And our audience is multitasking. It's consuming media in a very different way. The parents do. We did. And it's simply everywhere at the same time. They are able to watch television and chat online at the same time using their mobiles and actually, you know, working, you know, on the tests or whatever the homework is. We find it quite unbelievable, but this is the reality today. And we want to be there. We want to be relevant to their lives and reflect, you know, everything that is very important to Disney.
Christine, a final question to you. The first commercial channel from the Walt Disney Company that I understand is open for advertising. Very quickly, why? And I am assuming there are fairly strict rules that you will adhere to.
Yes, you know, I mean, Disney as a company has very strict policies about how we market to children and how we allow other people to market on our platforms. And those policies will be enforced on this channel as well. We always make sure that any marketing messages that we deliver are appropriate for the age group, and likewise the people who advertise on our channels, we make sure that they are age appropriate. So that's something that absolutely we will be doing with this channel as well. As you know, this Disney XD will also be on the compact tier. It's a much more broadly distributed channel than our flagship Disney channel, and that is an appropriate model for us in that manner of distribution to have advertising.
Appreciate both your time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Interesting insights. Mache Bral, Vice President and GM Disney Channels Emerging Markets, along with Christine Service, who is a South African Country Manager for Disney. Coming up on the program, Harry Beckwith works with 23 Fortune 500 companies. He's given keynote addresses to Microsoft, Disney and ABC, and has authored the international business bestseller, Selling the Invisible. He's standing by to talk to us. Now, Harry Beckwith is a leading marketing and media strategist, and as I said a little earlier, works with a number of Fortune 500 companies, as well as previously advising the Obama campaign on marketing during that historic election. Now, it's a timely visit to this country as we are in the middle of election season. Harry Beckwith, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Nice to talk to you. Let's start with Barack Obama first. We're in election season right now. Is there a marketing secret to winning an election?
Well, it's different in our country than in yours. We only have two parties. We don't have even a viable third party. So the idea in America is really to try to get to the middle. So they both profess to start from some slight extreme, a liberal versus a conservative. Democrats are liberal, Republicans are somewhat conservative. There's no bona fide independent party. And so the idea is to win an American election is you've got to get to the middle. You can't be too extreme on either side. And so our campaigns tend to be, for president, really tend to be a little wishy-washy in some ways. They sound like the two people are kind of saying a slight variation on exactly the same thing.
And that message gets even closer the closer you get to election day. But I would also suggest to you that candidates and parties these days in a very competitive political environment, whether it's Washington, D.C. or Cape Town, still need to see themselves, surely, as brands.
Yes, they absolutely do. And they also need to recognize that the power, we've really demonstrated in our country, that the power of using the same advertising and media and marketing techniques that are used by the great brands like Coca-Cola work for the little guy too. You've got to get your message heard, you've got to get it noticed, and there's a lot of things competing for attention. So you can't simply get up and say, I stand for this, I stand for this, I stand for this, and that therefore people oftentimes aren't listening at all.
So again, in marketing terms, it's about developing a viable brand proposition.
A viable...
Difficult in politics, though?
No, and because I think that I'm of the opinion that the candidates are bought as much for their personas, their personalities, their likability. Whether, is this a person I would want in my home? As opposed to really what they stand for. Again, with six parties in your country, more different. And you've got some issues that have risen to the top about delivery of municipal services and then people not paying their rates, the taxes, whichever term is. Which is the term best to use for that? But
rates is a good term.
Rates is a good term, but people here in this country, they're not sure that they're getting what they pay for. You don't really see that in America, that dispute over, I'm not getting the service I want.
Which is an excellent segue, Harry Beckwith, into why you're in South Africa right now. You're helping a large insurance or financial services company with service delivery issues.
Yes.
Is it a global problem?
Is it a global problem? I'm having trouble believing that Liberty, and I'm here on behalf of the Liberty, the company, has service problems because all the people that I deal with are so extraordinarily hospitable. I've said they're genuinely the most hospitable people who have ever hosted me, and I've been doing things like this for 14 years.
Clients might have a different perspective, not only of that brand, but of others competing.
Well, and they're dealing with the FA or the broker as opposed to the people back in corporate that I'm dealing with. And so, what you really have, though, is you have Liberty trying to establish a brand, to own your life, and a notion around service, but it has to be delivered at the local level by these FAs and these brokers everywhere. They're the brand. All the people in the company are the brand.
So how do you get them to buy into the brand? There's so many competing factors.
Yeah. It really starts with hiring. It starts with hiring passionate people. It's hiring with people who really have a genuine commitment to serve and to help others. If you don't have that, if you're not born with that, you're almost born with that genuine commitment to help others in their lives and their financial lives, you won't represent the brand well. And so it's a hiring decision. And then can you get someone who's sufficiently intelligent and has the sales skills to go to the next step? But the step starts with, do I really want to serve this person, or do I merely want to extract money out of their wallet? Well, the person who wants to extract money out of their wallet isn't going to succeed.
And the way in which that paradigm or that dynamic is controlled has got to be brand leadership from the top, something, again, that doesn't always happen.
Top, but all the way down to it goes in both directions. You start at the lowest level of hiring, you start at the top level of absolutely demonstrating that behavior, of demonstrating that commitment, that affection, that passion for the people who work for you. If they don't see it at the top, they won't manifest it in the middle or the bottom.
And part of the secret, you would suggest in your new book called Unthinking, is to have a marketer who thinks. What, though, is an unthinking marketer?
Well, It's because it's to recognize that we're really not rational people. I don't know how much time we have, but I have to tell the story. On my blog on my website, I have a story about Israeli parole judges who I assume are the same as judges all over the world. They've done a study of them to see how do parole decisions vary over the day. Well, what turns out is the parole officer, right after breakfast, grants parole in 65% of the cases. It goes up a little bit, and then it starts plummeting down. Then they have lunch, and it goes all the way back up to 70%, and then it goes plummeting down. So now we're saying that maybe the best time to call on people in sales is right after breakfast or right after lunch, but never make it before lunch or before dinner because they're either too tired or too low on blood sugar. And it seems like a frivolous thing to say, but we're creatures of this body. Our minds is an organ. It's governed by the rest of our body. If it's tired, it makes bad decisions or no decisions.
And part of your thinking also refers to brands and perhaps business people having to play a little bit. It's important that we don't. That we do. Are you saying that we take ourselves too seriously, or are you saying that we've got to take ourselves seriously, but we also need a little bit of time out to do stuff for ourselves?
Well,
what
I'm citing in most of the cases is to recognize that human beings love to play. And are there things that you can build into your product or service that allow them that opportunity? It could be something as simple as a contest.
Is this the employee or the customer? Both, I suppose.
Both, yeah. If your employees are playing, they'll be more creative. If your customers feel a sense of play, if you can somehow provide that. The example I always give is the iPhone. And the Apple iPhone, those are the colors of Fisher-Price toys that are very popular in our country. Those are all toy colors. The phone looks like a toy. And we like to play.
But come on, Harry. I mean, there's also a line between playing and frivolity and actually getting the job done. Or is it blurring? I don't know.
No, I don't know. We like to be frivolous, too. Human beings do all sorts of frivolous things. Why in heaven's name would someone buy a $7,500 handbag? Or let's put it in Rand, a 50,000 Rand handbag. It's frivolous, but yet we do it. We're frivolous in part because it's a feeling of freedom.
And part of that frivolity you also suggest in Unthinking is reinvention and the power of surprise.
Yeah.
Brands need to surprise us all the time.
They do, and that's why you talk a lot about commercials. The commercials that work are the commercials that surprise us. There's an image, there's a story, there's something there that catches us by surprise and involves us. Every great story has a surprise. Every great commercial has a surprise. Every great marketing message has a surprise.
Just a final one for you.
Yes.
Part of the surprise, I would suggest, is brand and marketing optimism.
Yeah.
That comes across in this book very, very thoroughly. But how could you be optimistic in a post-recessionary climate when so often for businesses it's simply about survival?
Yeah, well, it's about survival, but you've got to say that there's going to be a year from now, 5 years. We've all been through recessions before. Recessions come. In our country, we went through a depression. It wasn't that long ago to some of our grandparents. And then suddenly it catapulted it back up. What helped catapult it back up? I've written about this. It's optimism. It's a belief that tomorrow will be better. And it's a belief I can do some things that will make it better. And the nations of optimists are the nations that thrive. Americans thrive because we are great optimists.
Well, I like to think that we have the same values, certainly on that front in South Africa. The book, by the way, is called Unthinking, The Surprising Forces.
Available at bookstores everywhere.
Of course, I was waiting for the plug. The author is Harry Beckwith. He is a leading marketing and media strategist. And that is Mags on Media for this week. Next week, we're going to look at a study that highlights the world's most valuable brands. Until next time, goodbye and thank you for watching. Remember, you can interact with the program on our Facebook page on this address.